Okay, so I'm here to tell you about this terrible, terrible disease. And I really, really hope that you're not infected with it. Are you ready for it? It's called analysis paralysis. Does it infect you or someone you love? I should give you guys the, say, if you take this drug, here are all the side effects. I feel like I sound like one of those commercials. But in all seriousness, analysis paralysis is something that is keeping many people from achieving the dreams that they've set for themselves. You know what I mean by analysis paralysis. When you overanalyze, overthink something that you want to do or steps that you want to take to the point where you scare yourself out of doing it, but because of all the pieces that you came up with that need to fall into place before you do something. Suppose you want to open a business, and instead of starting to take the steps forward, you sit down and you go through all the things that could go wrong, all the things you need to do. Well, I need to have a business plan. I need to have this strategy. And suppose I don't get this, and I don't get the bank loan, and I don't have the right social media strategy, and I don't have the right contacts. I haven't built up my network. I haven't done this. And you overwhelm yourself with all of these things that you have to think about before you can take one step forward. And you know what you choose to do instead? You don't do anything. And that's the case for so many of us. We have these dreams and these passions that are placed within us. These are things that keep us up at night. We think about it day in and day out. But for some reason, we allow the analysis to come in and keep us from doing that. And when I say analysis, you know what's behind that analysis? It's fear. Where it's a fear of failure. We're all afraid of failing. And of course, everyone's like, well, who isn't afraid of failing? We all are. But you have to be willing to take a risk if you really want the reward on the other end. It's easy to overanalyze yourself out of an amazing opportunity. And you can go and find something else to do. You can take a safer route. And sure, it may be comfortable. Everything is known and guaranteed. There's no way you could possibly fail. That's fine. But guess what? You're not really happy with that choice because you've settled. It's a consolation prize. And how often, you've watched game shows before, how often are the people who get the consolation prize, how often are they really ecstatic and running off the stage? Yeah, I came in third. What? Who sits there and says that? When you're thinking about your life and what you want it to be, are you really happy with taking this, this comfortable, settled route when there's greatness on the other side, and all you have to do is take a step back and say, yes, something could go wrong, but something could go very right. And and even if you do fail, failure is a part of life. Everyone fails at something. There's not one successful person that you can stick your finger on and say that this person never failed at anything. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't. You have to figure out what your specialty is and what your passion, how that can really become a reality. And sometimes it just takes trial and error. But in the end, even if you do fail, at least you know that at least you went for it and you tried something. And now you know how to fix it because you know what doesn't work. Now you have a chance to try something that does work. But I don't want analysis paralysis to infect the people who watch me. Why? Because I believe in each and every one of you that whatever your dreams are, you can go get it. There's nothing that can stop you from getting it. Don't allow fear of failure. Don't allow the fact that all of the pieces are not in place. The beauty of life is nothing's ever really going to come into place all at the same time. The beauty of life is having to navigate the different cards that were dealt, the different hands that were dealt, and trying to find our way through this thing. If life was meant for us to all have the pieces perfectly in order, we all would have it in order. But the truth is, it never really happens that way. But you still have to be willing to go after what you want, because you can analyze you can find a million reasons why you shouldn't do something. You can find a million reasons why this strategy won't work, and There's a million reasons why this person over here has done something successful and you can't. There's a million reasons you can talk yourself out of anything, but you should always focus on the one reason why you should is because it's important to you. It's because it's what you want to do, and it's what you're meant for. Nobody who has ever achieved any level of greatness did it without any sacrifice, without any failure, and without any mistakes. You have to be willing to make mistakes, and that's another part of analysis paralysis. People are like, well, if I analyze it and I go down into the weeds and into the 11th, level of detail, I can dot all my I's, using corporate speak now, dot all my I's and cross all my T's to make sure I don't make any mistakes. Well, if there's one thing I learned in life, and I got this quote from a great mentor of mine: if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything. If you think you can execute on any dream and achieve whatever level of success you want to achieve, and you never make a mistake, you are sadly mistaken and you're in for a rude awakening. Mistakes are part of life. Failure is part of life. Things are not going to work out the first time, but imagine how good you'll feel when you finally get to that success after you've worked so hard for it and you've put your passion and your heart and your time, your energy into it, versus just thinking yourself out of doing something. I don't want that you think yourself out of what is meant for you, because the thing is, if you're not going after it, there's someone else who's willing to go and put in that extra effort and to go and achieve that. And you don't just have to think about you. If you've got a family, if you've got children, if you've got people that are depending on you, you have to think about, I want better not just for me, but for them too. And if I take the comfortable route, am I really setting the best example for whether it's your kids or their family members? Am I setting the best example by settling and coasting through life and just existing? Many times when we take the settlement route, we're just existing. We're not really living. The beauty of living is trying new things, doing new things, giving it your best shot. Existing is, I'm doing this thing over here, it works, but you're still kept up at night because of all the things that are still swirling around in your head that you really want to do. So I want to challenge you to not let analysis paralysis affect you. If you've got something, or infect you, if you've got something that you've been thinking about and it's been on your brain and you've been analyzing it, put the pen and paper down. Take a step forward. If you want to start something, if you want to start a business, then start. Just start. You don't know where to start, you start anyway. You have to give it a shot, and you take the time to stumble and work your way through it. But at some point, it will begin to make sense, and you'll be able to find your way forward. If you want to quit your job and do something else, at some point you're going to have to just quit, because you're going to keep talking yourself, oh, well, I have to find another money source. I have to find this. There are a million different ways for you to make money legally. There are a million different ways for you to make money and for you to be able to sustain yourself. You don't have to stay at this one job in order for you to really still live the life that you want to live. And the question is the money even worth it? If you're still kept up at night about how much you want to do something else, is the money even doing anything for you? And so again, I challenge you to push yourself past all of the analysis you've done. You've analyzed enough at this point. You've looked at the paper or the website or whatever it is that is causing you to do all of this assessment. You looked at it enough at this point. It's time to take a step forward, and I challenge you to do that today.